I'm liking this one. Ooh-wee. That is a beauty. Welcome to Relic Rescue. My name is Bob Lee, and I metal detect and hunt historic trash dumps and old outhouse sites for rare bottles. One of the things that I enjoy most about this hobby is that it allows me to get back out into the woods where I used to work. I'm a retired Florida game warden and spent a good portion of my 30-year career following blood trails, tire tracks, foot impressions, looking for illegal bait sites and hunting stands, basically doing whatever it took to catch a poacher. Now I hunt for relics. So you're probably wondering why I'm leaning up against this massive excavator. When I first got permission from the property owner to come out here and metal detect and look for old bottles, he told me, Bob, he said, you can take this thing and do whatever you want to with it. And I thought about it for a little bit and I said, absolutely not. There was no way that me, who knows nothing about operating a huge piece of equipment like this, would risk damaging it. But after I gave it a little more thought, my inner child began to emerge, and I told myself, yes, Bob, you can do this. So I went online, watched a 15-minute video on how to operate an excavator, climbed in this bad boy, and took off. Check that box, because that was a bucket list moment for me. So now let me show you some of the things I've been up to. Be right back. We're heading up to the site where I used the excavator, and something I found in my experience of metal detecting and digging around these old home sites here in North Florida is that a lot of them are located on top of a high sand hill. Now I know when I use the term sand hill, that's kind of relative to Florida, because for those of you from up north, probably you would consider it no more than a bump on the terrain. But in Florida, this is pretty high. The elevation here is about 90 to 100 feet above sea level. And this particular home site is right here at the very tippy top of the hill. Hey, I realize that not everybody would want to spend their retirement digging around in the bottom of an old privy, but you know what they say, different strokes. In fact, most of the use layer has been removed, and for the children out there, that would be privy poo. But here's a little bit left. You can see a dark line right here, and it's kind of spackled with little bits of lime, which they used to put in the privies. And so that's a really good indicator, particularly when these roots go all the way down to the bottom. But this particular privy went to an old farmhouse. I believe it was built around 1885, and the folks that lived there farmed an orange grove. And that's when in this area of North Florida, the groves were first established. And this would have been very isolated at that time, back in the mid-1880s. This is not the amazing bottle dump that I promised to show you. That's coming up. But the reason I wanted to take you here and show you this site so that you could contrast the difficulty that I had in digging it and then not really finding anything. And then we're going to go about 20 miles north to Palatka a little bit later, and you'll see that it's incredibly easy as compared to this. So what's happened here, as best I can tell, I do believe it was a privy. It was it's lined with a lime mortar, and you can see the wall right here. So it doesn't come down vertically, it kind of slants a little bit, and then at the very bottom there's about a 6-inch layer of solid mortar. Now I have about half filled in this hole. It is originally about 3 feet deeper, but here's a piece of the mortar here, and you can see it. It's maybe an inch thick, and it's pretty brittle stuff. I mean, if I strike it against a brick, it'll break. But I guess it was strong enough to kind of keep the sides from collapsing in, and that served their purpose. And I've seen this same type of construction at other sites within 4 or 5 miles of here, and all of them coincidentally were on top of a high sand hill. It is believed that the demise of this cabin was caused by a chimney collapse. Now you can see there's a huge amount of bricks I've dug out of here, but also what I find interesting, and I have no way to explain it, here's a piece of the chimney right here. You're not looking at the top, the very top of it is 3 feet down, and I've dug all the way down to the bottom, and I don't know, it's a puzzle to me. But regardless of that, you can see there's just hundreds and hundreds of broken dish shards. And every time I came up on something like this, I thought, well, maybe it'll be whole, but no, not the case. I didn't find a single dish intact. Some of them are from France. Here's pieces of kind of an old jug or crock. The only bottle that I came up with more or less intact is this one right here, and it's and even it had the top knocked off. I've glued it back in and cleaned it up. I did not pull it out of the ground today. I just wanted to bring it to show y'all. This would have been a 1-gallon vinegar jug. 2 wires right here would attach, come up to a wooden handle, then a cork stopper would have gone in the jar. It is machine made. It probably 1920s. And basically that's all I've really found, in addition to a lot of rusted metal, which I'll show you in a minute. Cast iron relics recovered from a previous site can also help establish the date of the home. So what we've got here are window sash weights, and some of these quite heavy, 10 to 12 pounds, cast iron pan, a massive pulley. We've got flat irons. I'll probably end up keeping these 2 right here. We've also got a miniature flat iron, which is pretty neat. I plan to de-rust this and put it on display. I thought that was kind of cool. That kind of rolled out in a shovel full of dirt. Also have a meat grinder, patent date January 30th, 83, meaning 1883, and April 13th, 86, or 1886. So that puts it right in that time frame. We're talking about the mid-1880s. Also have a dish shard here. This was a Queen Victoria Jubilee plate, 1837 to 1887. Now that would have been sold around 1887. So again, puts it around the mid-1880s. And finally, I have some items I found, most of these with the metal detector. Now these stems from a clay pipe, obviously I did not find with a metal detector. They're made of white kaolin clay. I've never found any of these except in this site, and I think that puts it back to the 1880s. But the best way that I have found to age an old home site, at least for me anyway, is by examination of the shotgun shells. This one right here, for example, is a 10 gauge. It was made by Winchester, and it was produced between 1885 and 1889. This is the fragment from an all brass shotgun shell, and it was made in New Haven, Connecticut in either 1884 or 1885. An 1864 Indian head penny I recovered about 30 feet from where I'm standing now. I don't believe the penny was dropped in 1864. You can see some wear on the face. I believe it probably rolled around in different pockets and was eventually lost in the mid-1880s. So there's some of the ways that I use to date old home sites. That's a wrap here. Let's head north. I'm standing on top of the Memorial Bridge, crossing over the St. Johns River into Palatka. Now, just beyond that big boathouse, and to the left a little bit, is the North Historic District. There are 76 historic homes there, and there's one in particular I want to show you before we start digging bottles. We're in the North Historic District of Palatka on the grounds of the Bronson Mullaholm house. Let's go check it out. This beautiful antebellum home was first built in 1854. What I found interesting in learning about the history was that the owners were strict abolitionists, which I would have thought would have gone against the grain of the locals here, because at that time, this would have been considered the Deep South. During the Civil War, the owners fled north. At different times, the Confederates and the Union used this home. In 1864, the Union occupied Palatka with several thousand troops. The officers, of course, would have been quartered inside the home, and the rank and file would have been camped out on the grounds around it. Now, what you're looking here that is currently or now a grassy lawn would have been an orange grove back then. The owners actually called it Sunny Point. Good morning. I am about ready to begin excavating a mega bottle dump. What makes this dump so unusual, at least in my experience, is that there's no rusted cans, there's no bricks, there's no old axles or cast iron stoves or anything like that to really break these bottles up. It's just layer after layer after layer of bottles. And where I started digging, which is just kind of by happenstance, I just picked a spot in this yard. It looks like there's a wagon load of whiskey bottles dumped, and they're pretty much all the same kind. This is my second trip out here. The first day I took out 40 of these bottles, and this made from a 3-piece mold. It's before 1915. It's blown in the mold. It's got an applied lip, and I say it's a 3-piece mold because the entire body was made in one singular mold, and then there's a 2-piece mold. You can see the seam here, or I can see it. I don't know if you can or not. And it goes up and stops just before the lip where it's applied. Little bubble right here. So somebody did some serious drinking. I can't help but think that it's a saloon or a bar or something like that. And but my golly, and before I came here this morning, I dumped 120 pounds of glass at the dump here in Palatka. So, because these, they're unembossed, they're clear, so they're not really that collectible, and I have no idea what I'd do with this many bottles. But I've got a lot of them loosened up here, ready to go, and so you never know, we might come up with something a little different. So, same kind of bottle. Now, the other day I was here, and I did come up with a nice amber chemical. I came up with a nice amber whiskey bottle that was definitely blown in a mold with a bent neck on it. Every one of these I'm pulling out are pretty much the same. So my next area to explore is right about in here next to that barrel. Can you hear that? Oh yes, very nice. I believe that's a whiskey. That's similar to the one I found the other day. No embossing on it, but it's a nice amber bottle, and it looks to be intact. I think it's going to clean up really nice. Oh gosh. Oh, what is that? That's a little, got some sort of a little pill bottle. I don't know, maybe heroin, cocaine, who knows? Back in the day, that was pretty common, but that's intact. Oh, nice. Oh, it's not embossed. Still though, it's pretty neat. I like it. I don't have one that shape. Maybe it's a pharmacy, I'm not sure. There is a little something on the bottom. It says W.T. Company. I might be able to look that up later and figure out just what kind of bottle we got here. Boy, there's another. I don't normally find these. Well, that's an amber stopper, and it's, wow, pretty much, well, there's a little tip of it sheared off. That's pretty much intact. I don't know if it went with this bottle here or not, but I got something else here. I don't know if it's intact or not. Okay. Let's see, and it is embossed, finally. And this one is in great condition. And it is F.B. Brown, Jamaica Ginger. Yeah, this is one of these quack medicine bottles from back in the day. There was just a whole bunch of people that sold this stuff and promised great things. All of them had alcohol and sometimes cocaine. So I imagine that after drinking a bottle of this, you can't help but having felt a little more relaxed. Okay, this took a little doing. So many pieces of broken glass, but I've got like 4 or 5 bottles I'm looking at. This one finally is ready. And that, I think that's one of those amber whiskeys. It's not embossed. And this is one of the ones that you can't see the seam in it, and I believe that's because it's been fire polished. I'm not an expert on this. Somebody else out there may have a better idea, but anyway, it's kind of neat. And here we go. Here's another one. A little pharmacy bottle. This one is, that's not embossed. And I felt this one earlier. It too is unembossed. There don't seem to be a lot so far of embossed bottles. And a lot of the ones that I have found were broken. Okay, I got some big broken bottles out of the way. Let's see what this one is. Looks like a crown top of some sort. There is some embossing on the bottom. Could be F and S, don't know. Maybe some sort of, I'm not sure what that is, or was. No embossing other than just a little bit on the bottom. And I think I felt, here's something a little different. This might be a shoe polish bottle. So here's kind of the catch of the day. And there's a bucket of glass shards. I've only gone down about a foot. Gonna sign off for now, and I'll be back another day and we'll see what we get then. Okay, here we go. You're seeing what I'm seeing. We got a bottle here. We have a bottle right here sandwiched in between these 2 big ones. We got one pretty loose. Another one here, here, here. There's one here. Another one here, here. And maybe have a hard time seeing it, but there's a brown one right there. It looks like it might be perhaps a beer bottle. So let's start getting them out of here. Okay, I found, I think I found 3 of these last time I was out, and I've done a little research. This is unembossed, but this most likely held rubbing alcohol, and so it's an unusual shape, but this one's intact, clear bottle. Here's a piece of a, gosh, some sort of a, oh wow, look at the colors on that. Some sort of fancy dishware. Wow, that would be beautiful if that had been intact. I really like that. That's an unusual design. I've not seen one. Here's another piece to it too. I've not seen one like that before. Really nice. And as always, I've never found one intact. I found hundreds and hundreds of pieces of these dishes and crocks and so forth, but although this one, I don't know. Golly. I don't know. This looks like this might be kind of a different dish and then what we found before. And I think on this one, this piece would go with it. Now here's this one that's kind of interesting. Let's see if it's got anything. Oh, I kind of like that. It's got embossing on the bottom, and I'm not sure. It looks like it might be a K. There it is, a KB. I will have to look that one up. I don't see any other embossing on the main part, but you know what? This one's totally intact, and I've never found one like this before, so that's pretty darn cool. All right, that's one to do some research on. This is one. This might be a pickle or condiment jar of some sort, and it's got looks like it might have a crack in it. I've not ever found one like that before. I'm assuming the label probably went right in here, and this decorative part would be on the back. And there is no embossing on that one. And here's one. Yeah. Let's see, there is some embossing on the bottom. Tilden is what it says. Might be some sort of a chemical bottle. Don't know. I don't see any other lettering on it. Good shape though. Nice amber color. Looks like there's a little nick right there on the lip. Might be some sort of a sauce bottle here, condiment bottle. Embossing says, oh, Worcestershire sauce. Oh, this is neat. And then the embossing goes down the side of the bottle. I think it's the company name. I can't quite make out what it is. I like that one. It's teal colored, it's embossed, perfect condition. And all of these bottles, I'm looking for the seam. I don't see it on this one, but all these bottles would be around 1890, 1900s. That's a good bottle right there. I'd like to get more like that. Oh man, that one's broken, but it's embossed. That would have been nice. Yeah, it does have some embossing on the side. Wow. This is just a treasure trove in here. Here's a big piece of golly, wow. Look at the design on that. Oh my goodness. If I could, that's some sort of a picture. Gosh, if I could have gotten that hole, that would have been really nice. Got some sort of that's a large piece to recover though. Wow. After my last trip here, I made another trip to the dump and threw out another, probably 100 pounds of glass. And so far I've taken about, that's a big spike right there. I thought it was a root, tried to cut it with my clippers. That's not going to work. And you can't really, kind of hard to see, but it is kind of square shaped, just like the square nails. This has got some age on it. I don't know what that is. Come on, gotta get it out of here. Yeah, who knows? Well, we got another bottle. Let's see, that one's broken. Yeah, that's one of those Milwaukee's. I think was a beer. I always like to say I think, because don't know for sure. That is, okay, that's a, this got some lettering on it. Yes, it's mentholatum. It's embossed and made in New York. Yeah, I like that. That's nice embossing on there. Most of the times when I found these jars in the past, there's been a little bit of embossing on the bottom or none, and that's about it. But yeah, I'm liking this. This is a keeper. But I wanted to show you, now this, when I talk about heavily embossed, now that would have been a pretty bottle right there. To me, that would have been way collectible. I don't have anything like that and don't really know what it would have been, but that is nice. So we can only hope. Let's see, that's a broken one. And we got this is a flat panel kind of medicine or pharmacy bottle, no embossing. And let's see, we got this one here. I have found these before. This is chipped on the top, but it is embossed, and it's a Dirkley. I believe this is salad dressing. Yes, you can see it there. It's a salad dressing jar. What's interesting though, if they have it, see if they have the patent date on the bottom. It was around 18. Yeah, there's the patent date right there, 1877. Way cool. So this is kind of an overview of the hole. I've widened it out to maybe 4 feet, still not any deeper, at the very most 2 feet, and probably not even that. A lot of these bottles are almost at the surface, and there's so much glass and so many bottles, it just takes forever to get through them. and there's still a ton more to go. This is what I call the oh so sad pile right here. You already saw this one with the fancy design on it. Don't know what that would have been, but that would have been nice. Now this wide mouth aqua jar, that could have been a nice one too. This one has some interesting embossing on the base. It may have been a beer, but that's the first one like this I've seen. Of course, it's broken. Here's another wide mouth jar of some sort. You already saw the salad dressing, which I already have. Another wide mouth jar, a Heinz ketchup. And so I ended up with over 60 intact bottles, but most of them were what we call slick. They're unembossed. I did, however, get 8 Jamaican gingers in perfect condition. May end up giving them to the relatives for a Christmas present. I do have an older niece who is an interior designer down in Tampa, and she may be interested in having some for decorative purposes. Came up with 2 glass stoppers, a lot of this broken plateware, pretty good sized chunks. Don't know if I can do anything with it. And of course we have the whiskey bottles. The 2 favorites would be this food product bottle, preservative. Then we have probably a jelly jar of some sort, and the embossing is really robust on the bottom, 1898, like that. Then the rest of them are these small pharmacies, these rubbing alcohols. I believe they're rubbing alcohols. And then here's the shard pile, and I will be hauling them off for the home. All right, so here we are. It's getting kind of dark, probably about 3 in the afternoon here. Got some bottles. We're gonna see what we've got. I'm gonna bring it out. We can kind of have a look at it. It's intact. It's threaded on top. Got a nice big bubble. Looks like a flask, so I'm assuming it's some sort of a whiskey. Oh my goodness. Well, that's a common there, but I'm liking this one. Hoo-wee. That is a beauty. It is embossed. It's a cobalt. It's Ackerman and Stewart, which was a drugstore here in Palatka. They first began as Ackerman and Jackson in 1878. Then in 1901, the store name changed to Ackerman and Stewart. So this bottle would have to have been after 1901, and you can see it says Palatka, Florida. And I'm trying to see where the seam is. Yeah, it stops. So this was blown in the mold. Well, I think it's Milwaukee beer. That one's a little different. Nope. The aqua color is a lot deeper than the one from Milwaukee. You can compare them. This is only just faint. This is really deep. I'm liking it. It's got a really, really nice color. I'm gonna put it up to the sun. Let's see. You get a little better look at it there. Yeah, really nice. Nice color. Yeah, I think I'll keep that. Yeah, all right, let's see here. Well, it looks like it's intact. Yeah, it appears to be a food jar of some kind. It is embossed on the bottom. DHM Company. I'll have to look that one up. Still, it's in great shape. Like it. I've been gone about 5 minutes and it's just raining bottles. They're just coming out everywhere. Broken shards. But I've got one back here that looks pretty interesting. Hopefully it's whole. Wow, that's a wide mouth bottle there. Oh my goodness. That is obviously a food jar. Some sort. I'm gonna wipe it off my pants. Yeah, it's got the manufacturer's It's got a little nick there on the bottom, but I think I'll still keep it. I do not have one like this. I had one just fall out from underneath the overhang. That's what happens. You just touch it with your fingers. Matter of fact, there's another bottle right there. Let's see what that one is. Nope, that's another one of those common pharmacies. Just raining bottles. This is a good looking jar right here. Good looking jar. And look at there. Nice embossing on it. Eddie and Eddie food products, and it has pure in the middle. Very nice. Nothing on the bottom. That's a keeper. I'm liking that. That's the kind of bottles I'm hoping to find here with good, solid, robust embossing on it. I wanted to let you see a glass lid I just found. I have cleaned it up a little bit. It fell out from underneath the overhang. I've cleaned it up, and I'm going to put it up to the sun. There you go. It says 1898, and this may go to another food jar that I've already found. There's a bottle. Don't know if you can see it. Way underneath. I think I'm actually going to have to put the camera down because I can't hold the camera and snatch the bottle out, but you'll see it sticking out from the side. So I just pulled this out and kind of cleaned it off a little bit for you, so you make it easier for you to see. But I'm going to set it up here so the sun can kind of glance across it. It says Curtis Brothers Preserves. Did a little research on this particular bottle the other night, and there would have been a square label right here that said Blue Label Ketchup. Never heard of it before, but I looked it up online, and sure enough. So this comes out, and it was made in New York. So these are collectible, like it, and that's a keeper. So we've got about probably 10 bottles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's a couple of plates here. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so we got 12 bottles here. Let's pull them and see what we got. Well, okay. This is one of the ones, got a little nick in the lip, but now this is different. I haven't found one of these before. There is some embossing. It's kind of dark today, so I'm having a hard time reading it. Probably some sort of a sauce bottle, but gosh, well, other than a little nick there, that's in good shape. I don't see any embossing on the sides. That's okay. Got to be some kind of a condiment, one would think. Got the lip flared out nicely, and that's blown in the mold. That's a keeper. That's a first. So then we've got some broken dishes here, and I've already recovered quite a few of these from this plate. There may be several plates. Big chunks here. Hopefully you can see them. Pretty color. This is the one right here. This is the, you see that green? Gosh, I hope it's not broken. I hope it's not broken. Oh, come on, please, please. Oh, beautiful green color. Absolutely no embossing, but that's okay. It's a good looking bottle. Beer, probably. I would think. No embossing on it, but it is whole. And let's see. I can't even see a seam on it, so it might be what they call a turn mold, where they kind of erased all the seams to make it, I guess, look more attractive. Still though, I think that might display okay. And then we've got a plate here that is broken, but don't know that it's might just be, you know what? That thing is pretty much whole. Yeah, so I don't know, not a very attractive plate, but there's the whole thing. I don't see any manufacturers on it, but still, that's interesting. That's the closest I've come to one that's complete. I don't know, we'll set this up here. Got something here. Ooh, it's clear, but it's embossed. So let's see what we got. For the life of me, I can't read it. A lot of embossing, like it. I like it a lot. That's That's what I'm looking for. 3 lines embossing. Excellent. It's a crown top. It's blown in a mold. I'll try to figure that out later. About a year ago, I had a gym membership, and when I started getting into the metal detecting, and then a few months later the bottle hunting, I found out I didn't need to go to the gym anymore. This is a pretty good substitute for that, for this old man. Gosh, and I think, you know, I'm not an expert, but I think that's pottled there. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. If I could have gotten that one whole, look at that blue, look how thick the glass is. That is solid blue. I think this goes back to 1860s, 1870s. And now this is a crier right here. Very, very heavy. That's the first one I've seen like this out. Would like to have had that one whole. Nice. Please have some embossing. Nope. I mean, not a thing. Nice little bottle, but yeah, I don't know. So maybe it's some kind of an ink. Okay, gonna do a quick wrap up. Here are some fun stats from the bottle dig in Palatka. I took a total of 380 pounds of broken bottles and glass to the county dump. I recovered intact nearly 450 bottles. Unfortunately, most of those were unembossed, not really that collectible. Although I did keep a couple of 5-gallon buckets full of those small quack medicine bottles that I'll probably give out to an historical society sometime when this COVID ever lifts. A couple of bottles that you did not see me film. Got this green one right here. It's a medicine bottle. What's interesting is that there is embossing on the bottom. The patent on it is 1934, so this is one of the newest bottles I found. However, it's all over the internet, apparently pretty collectible. I like it. It's got a great kind of an emerald green color to it. It's a keeper. Vaseline bottle, the only one I've ever found. It is kind of cracked and nicked up. That is machine made. We're probably talking 1915, 1920s. And also a citrate of magnesia bottle. You can see the crooked neck on it here. I really like the crudeness of it. Unfortunately, the one bottle that may have been the most collectible is the property of Harvard Brewing Company, made in 1900. And as you can see, it's got some awful cracks in it, so I'm going to end up tossing it. I didn't really notice it at the time when I pulled it out of the ground because it had so much dirt on it. I did want to share one thing with you. You might be wondering what kind of bottles that I expect to find at the dump, and that would be this one, or a variant of it. This is called a hutch in the lexicon of bottle collectors. This one says Palatka Bottling Works, Palatka, Florida. It's very collectible. It's called a blob top, and the hutch stands for Hutchison Glass, made between 1880 and 1910. And that tells me that my earlier theory, if you will, on what kind of establishment these bottles came from was either a bar, saloon, or a brothel. No sodas. And so if there's no sodas and it's all liquor, or these quack medicine bottles that had a high alcohol content, I think that's what these bottles originated from. That'll be it until next time. Thank you for watching.